Okay.
We are live. Okay, perfect.
Okay, so we are officially live and it is 7:01. Welcome back, everyone. This is the first official Message Monday for Ninth Street, a place of hope, and Ninth Street Missionary Baptist Church of Fort Smith, Arkansas, where our mission statement is saving the lost at any cost. Tonight, we have a special topic for you guys, which has been one that's been heavily talked about, and it is going back to school in a pandemic. So on tonight we have some special guests with us, and I'm going to allow everyone to introduce themselves and let us know what you actually do in the field of education. And we will start with Miss Tate, and then we will go to Tanisha Wilkins, and we will end with Michael Johnson.
Good evening. My name is Tanika Tate, and I am a principal in Fort Smith, Arkansas at Carnell Elementary.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Tanisha Wilkins. I teach fourth grade math and science at L. Clifford Davis in Fort Worth, Texas.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Johnson. I'm superintendent at Florida Agricultural Mechanical University Developmental Research School in Tallahassee, Florida.
Right, and Pastor Carter is joining us again, and so he is actually in the school system as well. And Pastor Carter, can you let us know what you do in the school system?
I am Cedric Carter. Simply work for Birdville Independent School District in North Richland Hills, Texas. I am a behavior facilitator, currently over 5 schools in the secondary level of school.
I want to thank all you guys for joining us on tonight, and let's go ahead and jump right on in it. Listen, for those of you who are watching live, please make sure you like, share, and tag so others can join in, and we will be monitoring the comments so that we can ask any questions that we need to with our guests on tonight. So I'm going to jump right in, okay? So I was reading on today about, I love statistics, so it tells us that I'll go with Tennessee. Tennessee has 65 school districts on Friday. Everyone started school, and they're already closing their doors. When you hear things like that and you hear the numbers, I know on the news they said maybe over 600 students have been infected already with coronavirus after returning to school in various school districts across the country. When you hear numbers like that or hear those type of facts, how do you guys feel hearing that, knowing that you're in leadership positions to go back, and some of us have to teach in those settings? How do you feel about that?
I guess I can begin if you like. You know, it's a little bit different here, and I'll try to be as brief as possible. It's a little different here in Florida. For my school district that I've been charged to lead, we go back next Wednesday. And for us, it's not a matter if we want to go back or the methodology. We have to go back. Our commissioner has an executive order that all schools must be open on or before the end of the month. But to answer your question more specifically, for me as a superintendent, it's very concerning. I feel really good about some of the things that my team we've implemented as a district to try as best to keep both students and faculty safe. But one of the questions you have to think about in your mind is, you know, how do you respond when something or when there is a case on your campus? But to answer that more specific, it's very unsettling, and it causes some anxiety. But you know, we're working really hard to try to put in as many preventative measures that we possibly can, because we're one of the only school districts I know, definitely in Northern Florida, if not the state, that has it where wearing face masks or mandatory for anyone on our campus, including students. And so we're just trying to do every little piece that we can to make sure that since we are mandated to open, that we take all precautions into consideration.
I definitely would concur with Michael. That's kind of what we're doing in Fort Smith. Our board has approved, we will wear masks. I've had conversations with teachers every single day, with parents, with students. These are very uncertain times that, we find ourselves in. And so the only thing that we can do is to make sure that we do all we can do as far as the personal protective equipment, as far as social distancing as much as possible, sanitizing as much as possible, because we too in the state of Arkansas, we have a mandate to go back to school. And so we will begin school in the Fort Smith School District on August 24th.
Okay, well, I'll just chime right in. It is really, really concerning to me that so many districts across the country are being forced to go back, even though we know that the resources, the PPE, the preventive measures have not been put in place across the board nationally. And for me personally, I just feel like we are not, our lives are not important enough. More so, I feel that money, the economy is being put before our lives, and I'm speaking for most of my colleagues. I spoke with my principal last week, and she's the type of principal that I can just go to and be very, very candid with. And I asked her, I said, be honest with me. Have the plexiglass, have the water, clean sanitation stations, because I teach in a portable, okay? So we won't be able to run back and forth to the restroom every 5 minutes, wash our hands and doing what we need to do to be safe. So I asked her, have the preventive measures as outlined by the CDC have been put in place? And she said, Ms. Wilkins, I'll be honest with you. The only thing they did on our campus is put in some plexiglass in the office. Nothing else has been done. But here we are being told that we have to open the campuses. So I'm so thankful for my superintendent, Kent Scribner, who knew this. And when the board went back and did a re-meet last week because of what our Attorney General, Ken Paxton, that loophole he came up with, when they went back to the drawing board, they knew we weren't ready. And instead of still going forward and saying, okay, we're going to open anyway, they said, no, we're not opening our doors. Better yet, we were slated to start August 17th with online virtual classes. So they even pushed it back further. They said, no, we're not going to start until September 8th. And then it's going to be 4 weeks of online instruction. And then they'll come back to the drawing board for October 5th, reevaluate the data, and see if we are truly ready to open and have the safety of the faculty, staff, and students. Do you know that in the last 2 weeks of July, there were 97,000 kids who tested positive for this? And sure, they're saying, okay, they'll survive, they'll live. But guess what? They'll spread it to us. We did in my mid to late 40s, underlying health conditions, and we won't be so lucky. So I just really feel that it's going to have to start with the leadership, starting in Washington to get this thing together. We're being asked as an educational institution to solve a world problem. And that's not what we in. That's not what we do. We educate, we facilitate instruction. So our leadership needs to get it together. And as you all can see, I'm at my part-time job, which turned into a full-time job once the pandemic hit.
Hey, we just have Angela Warren. She's a teacher at DISD here at Dallas Independent School District. We want to welcome her also. Sister Carter, if you would repeat that question again so Angela is able to answer that.
So the question was, On Friday, we talked specifically about one school district in Tennessee where they had 65 schools that opened, and they are already closing their doors because children have already been infected. And over 600 students have been tested with coronavirus since last week. So when you hear things like that, how does that make you feel knowing that you have to go back to school?
Well, as an educator, it gives me a little anxiety, just because I want to be safe. You know, I want the kids to be safe and I want to be safe as well. And I want to make sure that our district is doing everything that's possible to keep us safe and that we will be able to go home with our families. So it's one of those things we really don't know what's going to happen. We can only just expect. We're expected to follow the policies and make sure that we're following the guidelines, that we somehow don't really know all of the guidelines, but we're expected to follow the guidelines. So it's a little bit uneasy, an uneasy feeling, but I know that our district they have things in place that they've told us about. I know that the kids will have masks. I know that, you know, they'll be expected to social distance. They'll have a face shield. We will have that as well. We'll have the plexiglass. Those things are in place, but the question is it enough? Will the kids follow it? Will we be able to manage it and make sure that they are following the social distancing guidelines?
I have a quick question. Pastor Carter, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, you can go ahead.
I had
I'll come
a
after you.
question for Ms. Tate and Mr. Johnson. So what are you guys, what does preparation look like at this point for getting ready to go in the midst of a pandemic? What does that look like for the schools, particularly your school?
Right. So if we're just talking about these uncertain times, you know, we don't know if what we have in place will work because we've never gone through a pandemic before.
Right.
But we do know that there are certain guidelines by the World Health Organization, by the CDC, by the state of Arkansas. And so some of the things that we're doing is some of the things that I think it was Miss McNeil that she just shared. You know, of course, we're going to have the plexiglass. We're going to have the personal protective equipment. You know, we've got some sanitizing station. You know, we've got built-in time for breaks, mask breaks. We are requiring masks at all time. We've split up lunches. Instead of 3 lunches, I'm going to have 6 lunches and, you know, different things like that. So we've done things such as that nature to be able to social distance. But guys, if we're just being honest, none of us know what the answer is. And so I think for me personally, my faith is in Jesus. And he knew I would have to go to work. And so I'm just going to expect that, you know, as I do what I'm supposed to do, that he's going to handle the rest.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't beat Jesus, huh, Tamika? We're gonna
We
use
cannot.
this word. Very similar to that. I mean, you know, even in our district, all the teachers will have protected glass in classrooms. Students will have protected desktops. One of the things I was really fortunate about with you know, being part of the university is way early, like I think February, I started working with FAMU's task force around preparation for this. And so I was able to get a really, really great jump, and the leadership pretty much let me lead around what I was thinking, from my direct report all the way up to the president at FAMU. I'm in a meeting with him every Tuesday, Friday, regarding prep for, you know, when schools open. But, you know, everything pretty much, not to, so I, you know, to minimize some time, is what Tamika was describing. But we even to the point are doing temperature checks before students get out the car. Now, none of the parents, I hope, would do this with, you know, Tylenol and get them out. But we're really trying to do the smallest thing. And then, like I said, we're one of the very few schools, maybe even in the state of Florida, where face masks are mandatory. You know, they're optional or strongly suggested in a lot of places. And then ensuring that teachers had PPE as well in the sanitation stations. And then pretty much we have a 3-tier system. Some of our students won't even come to school. We have to open 5 days, but they have the option of which one of those, from 5 days to a hybrid model to being totally online. And so we're hoping that our numbers will be able to afford us to be able to meet the requirement of even social distance. We do know that's a challenge with our younger students, but you know, that's when we're going to have to be very vigilant about being around to make sure that every moment is a teachable moment for students as well. And so, like I said, the biggest thing for me was really getting a early jump on this, you know, and starting planning this out. But again, I'll echo what Tamika said. I don't know. I really wish I could say what it will or will not be like. You know, I have my own personal 2 children are high schoolers in my district, and so you know, we're working hard, just not because of that, but I'm looking at everyone's kid is important, and we wish we could say. I had a town hall, and that was one of the first questions as a parent asked me, "Can I guarantee that their student will be safe?" And I told them, absolutely not. But I can guarantee you we're going to put things in place to try to afford students to be as safe as they possibly can be.
Mhm. What is your, I mean, if you would please, for those parents who are looking and listening via Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, if you would, Superintendent Johnson, tell us, what does a hybrid model actually look like for our students out there? I mean, I know there are different for different various school districts, but if you would just kind of give us a little brief synopsis of what it may look like or entail.
Yeah, well, I'll just elementary. We'll have two different tracks. It'll be an day and a B day, where those classes will be split, and half of that class will be there on Monday, Tuesday. The other half will, I mean, Monday, Wednesday. The other half of the class will be there on Tuesday, Thursdays. And then what we are doing with Fridays are our wraparound services for our students that may have exceptional needs, students that may be even gifted and talented. Any of those students that need specific services will get those on Friday. And if a parent requests that their kids be there for that 5th day, they can be there as well. And so, you know, in a nutshell, that's elementary. High school, we have our middle schools coming on, because you got to remember, we're all on one big campus.
Mhm.
Our middle schoolers will come with the A group, and then high schoolers will be there with the other groups. And so it's just splitting up and trying to be very creative to limit the number of students and still maximize instruction. Now, when students are not on physically, you know, on campus, then they have to follow their schedule on Zoom. Specifically high school, it's going to be hard to ask, you know, a 7-year-old, you know, to be on a computer all day, but our high school is so that, and it's a block schedule, so it's not like they'll run through all of those classes, but they will be afforded on, if I'm not in school on Tuesday, I would pop up with my computer and watch live instruction happening in that classroom. We're outfitting all of our classes to have the equipment so that if students are not in that class, they can still participate like we're doing right now. I.e., if you were, you know, the instructor, we could watch you deliver instruction from our computers at home. And so it's just, you know, trying to create alternative schedules so that you can still maximize instruction, but minimize the amount of time or the number of students that'll be on campus at one particular time.
Okay. Principal Tate, can you tell us something similar to I think some of the things that Fort Smith is actually doing for those for our folks who are listening in directly from Fort Smith?
Sure. So Fort Smith has two options. So we have the virtual option where students have the option to go totally online. And in that option, they're using Pearson Online, and it's a learning management tool. And they will have the opportunity by appointment to be with a teacher. And then the other model that we use is called our blended learning model. And in that model, children are expected to be at school traditionally, unless of course they are sick or the numbers go up, whatever the case may be that would allow them not to be there. And so that's the two options that are being afforded in Fort Smith right now. You have the blended model, which is anywhere from being at school 5 days a week to being able to have the opportunity to use Google Classroom or Schoology, depending upon which of the platforms that your school is using. And then that will afford you the opportunity to be able to get that instruction that Dr. Johnson just spoke to with the maximizing the instruction, but also minimizing, the time that you might not be able to be on a campus.
Okay. Someone just asked a question. They stated, what are your suggestions for working parents having to do virtual teaching? Once again, I'll throw this out to you again. What are your suggestions for working parents having to do virtual teaching? And this is for anybody. Anybody can answer this.
Well, Reverend Carter, I'll chime in on that one. I am a teacher in the classroom. I know that unlike the spring, where we were just kind of thrown into this situation, and the children just had to really kind of rely on us assigning work for them to do, and they were just kind of like on their own, aside from us having days that we were available for 2 hours. But I do know that coming up this school year, since we've been in this pandemic, it has allowed us to be a little more proactive and a little more prepared with regard to how the instruction is delivered. So the students won't just be on their own so much. We will have live instruction. I know myself, I attended a many PDs this summer on how to, live record myself, teach the lesson, or how to actually be in Google Classroom, facilitating instruction, and actually be there with the students, as it's likely to be in the classroom. And so that so much of the instruction, and let's just be real, a lot of parents nowadays, the content has changed since we were in school. So they're not too familiar with the content or how to deliver it. So I think that this coming up year will be a little more better, a little more robust with regard to us being able to actually deliver the content, and the parents don't, have to try to pull their hair out and try to go back and teach and come in from work and try to figure out how to do this type of area problem or perimeter problem for 4th grade math. So my suggestion to them is just to, sit back and woosah and just, rely on us to do what we got into this thing to do, which is teach. We love what we do. It's been said that we don't want to go back to school. We're just making up excuses. But it's not that we love what we do. If we didn't love what we do, we wouldn't be doing it, because we know we're not in it for the money. Okay? So I would love to get back to the classroom and get amongst my students and us have a good time and learning and making it fun. But I mean, it's just not the ideal situation right now. So we just have to make the best of a bad situation, and hopefully, we have parent support. And I know a lot of them, they have to go to work. I understand that wholeheartedly, but just depend on us to know that we will do a much better job at instruction delivery this go around for their students.
Ms. McNeil, you want to answer that?
Can you say the question one more time?
It was stated that, what do you say to those parents who are working and having to do the virtual teaching for their children also?
Well, first, I would like to say it's going to take a lot of love and a lot of patience. That's the first thing you have to have, and a great connection with the school and the teacher that's going to be assisting you with that. I would suggest different programs that they have. You know, it's technology driven world, so you might have to get online and do some research. But that main piece is just having a relationship with the school where you're working together and you're not fighting what's happening, because it's a pandemic, and we're all going towards uncharted waters. This is new for everybody. So it's going to take working with the school, working with the teacher, having lots of love and patience, and just trying to getting a routine established right now. So you won't be left in the dark. You need to start right now planning for if that happens.
And then, you know, from what I've worked with my leaders is to remember that we're not asking parents to become that, you know, classroom teacher. We're asking them to just facilitate the instruction, meaning what supports can they give, because we also have to respect the at-home piece as well that comes with that, and you know, the challenges and the successes that parents will have at home. And so that's one of the reasons when we create our schedule, that Friday is really used as contact days as well, so that there can be conversations with parents. But I think if, in my opinion, if you're building up the framework that parent is to be the instructor, that's going to cause a lot of frustration, and inevitably the parent needs to be a partner in the facilitation more than being that classroom teacher. And you got to really work around finding the appropriate resources that will allow that parent to be that facilitator. If it's, you know, if your child is on, you know, Read 180, can the parent watch and make sure that their students are moving through the curriculum? Absolutely. But if you're asking them to help them discover what the scientific method is and how they apply that to solving an atom, well, that's asking a lot of a parent if he or she is a working parent and they're not, you know, a science major. And so really I've pushed my principles to how do we build that partnership with parents and be realistic about what he or she can do as a classroom teacher.
Okay. Here's another question for you all. And this is for our teachers, superintendent, principal, knowing that our kids and our students have been out of school for the past 6 months and going on a little bit more, probably 7 months now. And just knowing that kids have not been able to socialize, behaviors are going to be running rapid. What are some of the things that you guys are going to be doing when it comes from a behavior standpoint to rectify situations with our kids? And I know a lot of parents are right now are pressed. Some parents are wanting to press the fact of literally wanting to get their kids out of the house because they're not able to socialize, not able to see friends, which is, I feel as though from a behavior standpoint, it's going to cause some issues, just not by them being out of school, but not being able to socialize with friends. So how are we going to respond to the behaviors that we're going to possibly see?
Well, I would say that I know with our district, we have social emotional learning. So making sure that we tap into that social emotional learning of the child, to give them that opportunity to tell them, to let them explain how they're feeling, how has the pandemic changed their lives, and making sure we tap into that. So if they come to me saying, hey, I'm bothered by this, or I wasn't able to play, or whatever was going on, you're able to put things in place as needed when they come to you with those situations. So just making sure that we're covering the whole child, not just the academics, but making sure that social part is there, that gives them the opportunity to socialize and be heard.
Yes, before the pandemic, before spring break, in the academic year that we were in, 2019, 2020, we were doing a lot of the social emotional restorative practices is what they call it. And it's like my colleagues say, it's just tapping into the whole child, making sure the social, the physical, the emotional needs are all met. And it's all about establishing relationships. I have learned in my 23 years in this field is that it's all about the relationships you establish with your students. When your students know you're there for them and you have their best interest in heart, it's almost impossible to get them not to work for you. But we know students just like adults. We think, okay, they should be able to come in class. They should know how to act. They shouldn't be acting out. They shouldn't be doing this. But look at us as adults. Sometimes we look at ourselves. We have bad days. And so we have to understand that our students have bad days as well. And we have to give them an opportunity to be heard. So we do a lot of the checking in. We do a lot of the circles, weekly circles where the kids, their voices are allowed to be heard on certain topics. And we just kind of, develop their minds to be critical thinkers. So let them know that, hey, you matter, and how you feel matters to me. And when you tap into that, you and your students, you typically can almost have no disciplinary problems, no disruptive behavior. When they know what you stand for and you run a classroom that's consistent and that's always predictable. For a lot of our students, the school is their safe place. So when they come to class, they need to know that, hey, they're in their safe space and they matter and they know that they'll be heard. And when they feel that way and it's predictable, they know that, hey, when I come in, it's want me to sit down, get my math journal out and get started on my fact family today, then they know what we're going to do next. We're going to do this next. Nothing is haphazard. And when you run that type of classroom, your students, they know it's theirs. They own it, And so, that has been working a lot for us in Fort Worth ISD. So I'm praying, but I know, you can't go and think there won't be any disciplinary problems or anything. But if we continue what we started, I think we'll be very successful.
Okay. Anyone else? This is something that we have with all the individuals here that are representing their various states and school districts. We have Florida, we have Dallas, we have Fort Worth, and then we also have Fort Smith, Arkansas. Fort Smith right now Sebastian County is on the rise with COVID cases. Florida, very high in COVID cases. Dallas, very high. Fort Worth, very high. What is your take and what scares you the most, knowing that in these hotspot areas, what literally scares you the most, knowing that you are your teachers, your students, you may have someone who is asymptomatic in your school and not being able or not knowing if this child is carrying COVID-19. What scares you the most for your staff and then for the other students that are in your schools?
So our vision statement at Carnell Elementary is setting the pace. And the P in that word PACE for that acronym is providing a safe environment for all to learn. And because these times are so uncertain and because, I think it was Dr. Johnson earlier that somebody said, can you guarantee that my child is going to be safe? And at this present moment, we can't guarantee that any of us are going to be safe. And so if I had to say what scares me the most, it's the ability to not be able to control or to even know what more to do. And so all that I can do is what I know to do. But the fact that I can't provide a safe environment for all to learn, or I can't be certain that I am, is probably the thing that could potentially keep me up at night.
And I would agree with that. Over and over again. I mean, I was talking with one of our general counsels just on Friday, and she said something that just made me rock back in my chair. She said, don't think of it as if something happens. You have to also think about when it does happen. And I think that's a strong possibility. And then, leadership from when I was a classroom teacher to, an assistant principal, you always felt like whatever you were charged with, you had a sense of control with, not over, but you could control some of the variables. I think that, COVID-19 has put us all in an ignorance of leadership, meaning we just don't know the different deviations. Because for the longest we heard children didn't contact, well, from the very beginning we heard Black folks couldn't get COVID. I don't know if y'all heard that in Arkansas or whatever, but that was the thing for a minute in Florida.
Yeah.
I felt like Lotto, we finally won one. And then in Tallahassee, it is impacting the African American community the hardest. And being at FAMU, that's I'm leading a leader in the African American community. But just as Principal Tate said, I think it's just you can do all you can. You can give all the PPE, you can give all the temperature checks, but this virus is very real. And I still believe, this is Michael's opinion, that there's still a lot we truly don't know about how this virus has impact and how it's truly transmitted. So being a former science teacher, when you can't get a true you have a hypothesis, but you can never get to the true observation of what's going on, it really does give concern about how far and how much this will grow. And here in Florida, with us being the hot spot we are, you still have people for political and really dumb reasons that won't put on masks. And and we still know that's escalating. So it's just factors that we have no control over, I think, that keeps me wondering. And then in essence, the biggest is it impacts a faculty or even a child that's under my leadership, is a tough piece to really think through, but it's also some reality we have to think through as well.
Okay.
Yes. I'll say that the biggest thing that really, really causes my anxiety to be at this high level right now is just what was just said. The fact that, as educators, we're so accustomed to being able to be in control of our classrooms and the situations that arise in our classrooms. We can control, okay, well, if I'm teaching this math lesson on how to divide a 2-digit number into a 4-digit number, if this happens, I can do this. And if this happens, we're always constantly able to control and plan in mind. But COVID-19 is taking all of the control away from us in regards to our classrooms and the education of our students. And, kids, a lot have been pushing for the last years cooperative learning, the think, pass, share, and doing, allowing the kids to get together and bounce out big ideas off of each other. That is a thing of the past right now. I mean, once the classrooms do open up, there's no more cooperative learning. Students can't get up and just walk from a fellow student's desk and ask them for a pencil or ask them to use their eraser. All of that is going to have to be changed, and it's really, truly, I think it's going to affect the children in the long run because they're social by nature. And now it's just going to be a whole different beast that we're going to have to live with. And I personally, and it's just my opinion, I don't feel that true instruction is going to really, really happen because we're going to be so busy trying to make sure everyone's social distance. No, don't touch that. No, don't go over there. No, sanitize your hands. No, you gotta go wash your hands. we're going to be patrol. We're turning away from instructors, facilitators for education. We're going to be patrol officers. That's the way I feel. And the students are not going to be happy because what about recess? What about PE when they get to go in and socialize with classmates from other classrooms? What about art? What about computer lab? What about all those fine arts that they don't even have an answer to how they're gonna tackle that yet? So I believe they're gonna be more miserable at school than they will be at home. So going back to the point, that's what scares me the most, is that education as we've known it all these years is of no more.
Anyone else?
I wanted to, if no one else has anything else to say, I wanted to this question that was in the comments. What can we as a community do to support you guys in the situation that you guys are going through? Because obviously, like you said, you guys don't have an option. You have to go back. What can we do to support you?
First, go to the altar for us. Keep us lifted in prayer. Real simple is what I'm asking our community is just to partner with us, because you can make it less impactful if you're fighting the school on what they're asking. That's one of the pieces with our parents is we really need them to understand, unlike a lot of districts, wearing masks are mandatory. Support us on that. If your child is not feeling well, support us on not sending him or her to school. And even as teachers, I'm not looking for you in this to be courageous. If you don't feel well, stay at home, take care of yourself. But if of any time where there has to be a partner in education, I think this is the time that we live in right now. I think and I'm an example of that. I think, and not because she evaluates me, but I'm sure the dean, who is my boss, is watching this. But it works well when you have people up and around that are supporting the works as well. And everyone has to be aligned and in tune and partnering in this. So I would just say, as a community, faith-based is just support the community and in the best manner, and be a true, authentic partner and supporter of what they're asking. And then, if anything, check in with, you don't have to check in on me as a superintendent. Or anything, check in with teachers, because they're going to be right there in that every day, and that's going to be really important for their mental health, for their stability. Just to have someone to say, "Hey, you really are." It's kind of like the same mentality when everyone was, and not negating anything in the medical, but really the way in which we should have celebrated our nurses. We need to also celebrate our teachers when they walk back into the classroom every day. Applaud them when they're walking out, when they're going, to their car, whatever, because it's that serious. And for them to literally put themselves on the line to educate and house children is going to be really important for their social, emotional well-being as well. We talk about it with students, but we also have to talk about the same thing with adults as well.
That's good.
That's good.
Anyone else?
I want to piggyback on, I'm not an educator, but hey, Mr. Johnson, you said something that was so key to me when you said that the teachers put their lives on the line. And I shared this with Pastor Carter earlier. I was watching CNN, and a teacher said, she said, as a teacher, I am always prepared every school year. I prepare myself that I'm willing to put my life on the line in case of a school shooter.
Right.
I'm willing to get in front of that bullet for that child, because when I go there, I'm not there just to educate them, but I am there to protect them, because that's what I decided I wanted to do as a teacher. The only problem I have is that even with COVID, I'm still willing to put my life on the line, just not my family's life, because they didn't sign up for the
Right.
same thing. And that's the thing that scares her the most, is that she may contract it, bring it back home, and give it to someone in her family, and they not necessarily make it,
Right.
and their
I've had
parents didn't sign up to put their life on the line for the students like she did.
yeah, I've had a couple of discussions with teachers, and one specific shared with me, that concern. She's the caregiver for her ailing mother, and she wrote me a note saying, Superintendent, I'm nervous more about what I could take home, because the other thing that we have to realize is, a lot of folks can be asymptomatic, and that's the scary thing, is like we could be bringing in a lot of asymptomatic folks when we all pull into schools that could also change the trajectory of things as well.
Yeah.
You guys are utilizing substitutes to help online learning?
Substitutes?
Yeah.
Dallas.
What happens with them in this situation?
That's a good question.
Well, if I could get some, I mean, that's going to be the tough part, as we're moving forward, is we got teachers that are already applying because of pre-existing conditions to be able to deliver instruction from at home, but that becomes more of a daunting task moving into this hybrid mode. We've always struggled. Well, I've been here a year, with more than any place I've ever been is finding substitute teachers, and so now it's really going to be a tight grab trying to get them, because right now some schools started this week. If they have teachers that are out, they probably have already. My assumption would be they've already have those teachers on long-term substitutes on long-term, subcontracts. And so for those of us start the next week and the following week, what does that look like as well?
There's a statement that was made in the comments. Teachers may need on-site therapy. Have you guys considered, being able to provide some type of outlet for your teachers, being in this type of situation?
Yeah, I have. At Cornell, we are doing a couple different things. So we are advocating for some self-care. We have our district already. You get so many sessions of free counseling sessions throughout the year. Another thing that we have put in place, of course, is the frequently asked questions. And so as they have those questions, they have a certain place where they can put those anonymously, and they are able to get those answered. One of the things that was important prior to COVID was teachers' self-care. It's really important that they take care of, or I say we, because I feel like I still get to teach every single day, but that we take care of ourselves, because it's important. If we don't take care of ourselves, then there's absolutely no way that we can make sure that others are taken care of. And so we have truly encouraged, our teachers, drink more water, start exercising, getting your body, as best fit as possible, because that's the news that we've heard, is the people that are more fit, that are healthy, that they have less risks of it being, of the virus being as cruel, I guess, as for the lack of a better word, that it has been. And so we've had a lot of conversations with that, and we've challenged each other. We're actually walking the trail 3 times a week together as a school right now, with our masks on and socially distanced. We have a trail in our backyard, on the playground. And so we're starting that 3 days a week. And so we're just committed to, again, being a healthier, better version of ourselves, so that, again, we are just able to be able, and again, that leads to really good conversation, because one of the things that happens with teachers is that oftentimes it's a lot of isolation. And so having that opportunity, that space to be able to have those conversations as you build a relationship, sure does help in this fight. And it says a lot about us being together.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That's good. You know, I think that is very key. You talk about exercising. Goodness, I think that is needed, especially to build up your endurance, your lungs, and like you stated before, this virus has been cruel to people because of a lack of oxygen, and it takes away your breath. And so, what better way, I think, to take the lead from a standpoint of being a leader in a school, to have your staff out there doing those type of things as far as when it comes to exercising. I'm gonna have to bring that up to my school. I'm gonna steal that because we probably need that. But also, I want to say, as we prepare to close, if you would simply, and I want everybody to do this on tonight, just give one positive to those folks who are listening on tonight, that are literally those parents who are out there who are literally afraid. Just give them one closing positive on tonight as we prepare to leave.
I would like to say, be encouraged. Know that that the teachers and the staff, we're going to do everything that we possibly can to make sure that your child is safe. So you won't have to be afraid of us not doing what we're called to do, because we will do that. So just be encouraged and know that they will be in good hands as best as possible, that we're here. So just be encouraged.
Okay.
I would say to echo that, but also truly know that everyone has your child's best interests at mind. I've been blessed to have worked with educators all over this country, and believe it or not, I've never heard anyone get up in the morning and say how they want to ruin a child's life, or even have a conversation in that. Teachers are fearful. We're all have some fear, but we're better at this together. And we'll make it through this. I truly do believe that. There's going to take a little bit more shaking at the core of who we are in humanity. But I definitely know, the God I serve is able, and maybe, he has gotten our attention enough to know that it truly is about, God, family, and then work at school. And I think what it has done is made us all come together more as a people, to understand that it has to be a chain that is strongly connected. And I think people are realizing that, because we have been shaken like none other. But usually when you go through it, you come through it stronger as a community of schools. And remember, the schools are the fiber of your community. So we'll make it through this. We just have to be strong and encourage each other.
Wow, good. Ms. Tate, anything?
I love what both of them have said, that, we're stronger together. And I think if anything has come to the surface through all of this, is that teachers care. We love these kids. The motto at Cornell is that if it's not good for Tiara Tayel, which are my own personal girls, then it's not good for other people's kiddos that send their kids to school every day. Our motto for the 2021 school year is we win. That means we work and learn, we inspire, and we never give up. And so I would encourage, that would be the words that I would send out for everybody today, is to work, as hard as you can, learn as much as you can, be an inspiration to somebody, and then never give up. And when you're doing those things, that means that we win. And just like Michael just said, that means that we will be able to get through all of this together, and we will be better because of it. And again, we'll become a better version of ourselves.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you all. Sister Carter, anything from you?
No, I just thank all you guys. You guys that feel better about going back to school. And just want you guys to know you have my full support, and anything we can do to provide for you guys, you let us know. Outside of the altar, Mr. Johnson, we're definitely going to be setting up prayers for you guys and praying for you daily as you guys embark on this new journey in the pandemic.
And thank you guys for letting us have some of your platform. Thank you so much. Go UAPB. Talk to you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, what a great state.
In closing, I want to tell all of you, thank you, Ms. Tanisha Wilkins, and representing Fort Worth ISD. Also, thank you, Angela Warren, elementary teacher for Dallas ISD. Thank you, Principal Tate, for chiming in on today. And then thank you, Superintendent Johnson, for coming in on today, and all of you taking time out of your busy schedule to just come in and share with the people all over this country about education, and then expressing your thoughts and feelings about this COVID-19. I want to tell you, and I'll leave you with these words, is that we've been made to endure for a night, but joy will simply come in the morning. This is only a test of our faith. And as we as educators, as we as believers, continue to keep God first, God will take care of the rest. As we leave tonight, I leave us with a prayer. And as the eternal God, our Father, how we thank you. God, we thank you for another day. We thank you for another opportunity. God, we thank you for these individuals who have came together, God, these educators, God, who have came together in your name and for your name's sake, but then also for your people. God, I simply ask now that you cover everybody that's on this line, God, that been on the conference call, that being on social media, God, and then all of these educators, God, I ask that you would cover them with the blood of Jesus. But then, God, I ask now, if there's any, please do not allow any hurt, harm, or danger to come to them while on this journey. God, we know this is just a test and a trial of our faith, God, and we know that we will not be moved, because we simply have you that cover us both night and day. And Lord, we thank you now for the opportunity that you have given us in the form of a profession of education. Now, God, we place no one else before you. We place you being the head of all of our lives. And then, Lord, we look up to you, God, and we look to the hills from which cometh our help, knowing that all of our help comes from the Lord. It is in your name that we do pray. And all of us said together, amen. Listen, God bless you and God keep you. And I want to tell somebody out there is that God can, God will, and God wants to make changes in your life. Hey, Message Monday, it is what it is. This is what we do. We bring reality to your home, from our home to your home. Thank you on behalf of the Main Street Place of Hope. Thank you on behalf of Main Street Missionary Baptist Church. And God is surely able. We're always trying to save the lost at any cost. God bless you and God keep you is my prayer for you.
Yeah.